Good day, everybody. I am recording this lecture video, then again, for purpose of future references, especially in utilizing this when we have problems in the internet connectivity. So today we are going to be discussing about lesson 3 of unit 3, which now we talk about the function of communication in which we tackle or dwell further with the concept of the information. So in this particular lesson class, we are going to determine and explain the functions of communication, in this case, to inform or to give information, and enumerate the tips or pointers when giving and receiving information. So as we do, it is best important to remember how communication transmits information and how we are able to determine, how we are going to give information comprehensively and receive the information without leaving any particular aspect not analyzed, right? Meaning to say, no misunderstandings or miscommunications later on in the communication process. So, as we do, let's try to consider this particular phrase. You provide information to others in various speech situations, such as when delivering an informative speech, when someone asks for directions, and when you get to know somebody. So sa to pa, sa laktod nga pagkasturya, depending on the speech situation or the situation in general, you are providing information one way or the other. Now, in order for us to understand best how we can utilize the communication process, the skill of communicating to other people to give and provide the necessary information needed at that particular point in time, we are going to be talking about the different tips and pointers that we can do in order for us to communicate effectively, whether you are the sender or the one who is giving the information, or you are the receiver, the one who will be encoding the information. Now, here are some tips in giving information. First, let's put it into a context na nag-uusap kayo face to face, whether be it personal na harapan talaga or be it in the media. You should maintain eye contact at all times. Maintain eye contact as much as possible. Anong sinabi ko in the previous discussion, if you're going to do or have eye contact, you may use the technique of looking at the forehead of this particular individual that you are in contact with. All right. So as not to get too curious, not to get too nervous, or whatever it could be, that might distract you. That might distract you from speaking clearly. Kaya class, we always emphasize the proper enunciation and pronunciation of words, because if we cannot clearly speak and utter them, there will be confusion. The information will not be heard thoroughly and comprehensively. So it's important that as we maintain eye contact, we also speak clearly, not to be politically correct per se, but of course, being politically correct is part of it. You know how to use grammar, kabaw ka sa pag-pronounce, sa diction, sa intonation, etc., etc. But then again, when you speak clearly, you're giving information clearly as well. So misinformation really is going to be avoided. Kasi nga, you are now able to channel what you wanted to say clearly. Okay? Another tip is to use variations in speech. It could be done through the manner or the tone that you use when you are speaking, or it could be depending on the pace that you have, the control of the discussion, the control of your voice, etc., etc. And you need to focus on the needed information. Mona, it's very essential that we understand what is being communicated to us in order for us to focus on the needed information, in order for us to understand what could be the possible feedback that is best suited for the information that I have received. Okay, so there should be focus on the needed information that needs to be supplemented in the conversation. Okay, Let's have more tips this time in receiving information from others. This is something that usually happens to all of us that become our own downfall. When you are a recipient of a particular information, it is really up to you, no, to understand it, to interpret it, and to comprehend it. Sir, wala mong gud na mo siya nasabtan. Sir, mo na ingon ato mo ang response. Then again, there are some tips in how to receive information from other people efficiently. First, we note down important information. Say, for example, class, allow me to share on my end every time I am attending a meeting or attending a webinar, a seminar, or I'm attending my classes in law, I always take note of the important and pertinent details of the discussion, right? Kasi nga I am the one receiving the information. So the information should not only be received, meaning to say, natanggap mo isang beses, but you're also able to remember it. Take note of the word retention. You are able to retain the information from other people because you wrote it down. So if you go back to your notes, makita nimo nga ay tama di ay mo din ni siya ang buhaton pag ingon ani ang mahitabo. Right? So that's very important. Taking down notes of information. Another is to ask questions. Always remember, it's not a mistake or hindi mali that you ask questions from your teachers. Even if you are still in grade 11, grade 12, you always ask questions to give or to attain clarification of the information that was given to you by the teacher. You also ask for clarification and verification. Unsay kalahian sa duha, sir? Actually, those are synonymous words. So basically, clarification and verification is talking about making sure, no, that the information that you received is accurate, is concise, and is maugyod ang bot pasabot. So these three are very important because this will help us along the way remember, no, what are the so many informations that we gather in a single day, especially now with the advent. Di naman siguro advent karon sa technology because technology is around us. Gani kanitong pagklase karon. This is now already an example of technology. So how are you able to adapt to the changes brought by technology? So as you are listening to this lecture video, you take down important information about my discussion. And then if you have questions, considering that this is pre-recorded, it is also advisable that you write your questions in your notebooks and then you relay it to me in order for me to be able to give some clarifications. Nakuha? Because these tips are very important, class, lalong-lalo na when you go to college. In college, nobody's going to be encouraging you to talk to your professors. Kayo ang bahala how you are going to make a move in order for your professors to be able to comply and meet halfway with what is essential and necessary. Say for example, daghan na kay mong tasks tapos naigihatag inyong professor. Given nga ulahi siya nihatag siyang task, you try to communicate. You try to clarify if there is a possibility na matagaan mo og extension sa deadline, etc., etc. Then if you are able to do that, then you're following the tips on how you, all right, ikaw, receive the information from other people. Because it's very important that we learn how to comprehend the messages that we receive. Okay? So in continuation of the discussion, I have here some expressions and their purposes that we identify in trying to denote how information is primarily transmitted. Okay. Kapag ka-expression yan, class, you would say, can you repeat? For example, can you repeat the question? Or what did you mean when you said that students are not qualified, etc., etc.? Your purpose there is to ask for clarification in case you think that you did not understand something clearly. So it is not wrong that you ask for the clarification. Another expression is, so you're saying that, and so would you like me to? This is verifying the information of what you wanted to do or what you wanted to happen. Okay? So these examples would show that there are different expressions that are somehow unfamiliar, but the purpose or the intention is uh, very much parallel with one another, right? Here is an example of a dialogue between Kay and her mother. Kay says, "Mom, how would you know if beef is already cooked?" Well, Kay's mother responds, "You will know it is already cooked when its color changes from reddish pink to brown." Kay, "Thank you, Mom. I wanted to learn how to cook beef steak." "You're welcome. Don't worry, I'll teach you how." So, this is an example of a very ideal dialogue wherein you are able to utilize these expressions in giving information as well as in receiving information from others. Take note that the character K did not only watch what was happening, but she also asked questions to clarify and or verify whether or not tama ba ang yang proseso in cooking that's a meal. Okay, so what I want you to do now, class, is I want you to first think about this one. As a young Filipino student, how would you use communication to disseminate information regarding the importance of taking care of your or of our environment? So, how are you going to use that now? Now that you've learned that one of the functions of communication is to give information, what could be the possible best ways na tayo, mga millennial, mga Generation Z, will be able to cope, no, in the discussion of taking care of our environment? So I want you to write your answers in your notebook. Write the date of our class today, and then you write your answers in your notebooks. Okay? So I hope you learned a thing or two with our discussion. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in class.